Hello and welcome to episode 18 of Agents of Clix, a podcast about everything Heroclix. My name's Sean and I'm joined by Christopher Dunn. Alright, Chris?
I am fine, thank you very much. How are you?
Good, I'm fine, yeah. Did you have a good holiday? Good Christmas holiday?
Yeah, quiet as we have seen. Didn't do very much, lazed about.
Yeah, well, sometimes that's the best way. Unfortunately, we don't have a Dale with us today, so it is just the two of us. But it was before Christmas when we recorded the last episode where we reviewed the Harlequin set. So it's about time we did another one, eh?
Mm-hmm.
So I think today you're gonna briefly talk about a couple of figures from the Star Trek set. We're going to talk about the results of the 2017 Q4 watchlist and discuss some of the upcoming X-Men set and what impact we think that'll make on Heroclix. Is there anything you want to add to that, Chris? Or
We might mention the WKOs that have just been announced for the winter.
yeah, the winter WKOs. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about any Heroclix you've been playing over since we last recorded.
To be honest, I haven't really been playing a lot. I can't remember the last. I think. I tell a lie. I played on Monday. Monday gone. Just had a fun casual game using Suicide Squad team.
Yeah.
I used one of the figures from the new Harlequin set. And I'm frantically trying to remember the name of it now. It wasn't very impressive, to be quite honest. We played there wasn't many of us turned up on Monday, so we just ended up playing a battle royal. So I played that. Matthew played the Runaways. I'm trying to think what else got played. I think there was a Gotham City Underworld team played, and an Arkham Asylum team.
Yeah.
It ended up with me and Matthew left, and it was who was it? It was Molly Hayes and Gertrude Yorks and Olaus, and I had I can't for the life of me remember who it was. I had Manhunter, the Prime from the Joker's Wild set.
Right. You got the Suicide Squad keyword, hasn't he?
He's got the Suicide Squad keyword, yeah. He's quite a fun figure to play actually, because he's got that special power where he can swap places with an opponent within 5 squares.
Yeah.
So I was desperately trying to get into a position where I could swap places with an opposing character on my last turn, so then the person next to me could then, who was next in turn with it being a battle royal, could finish them off.
Yeah.
We kind of ended up teaming up on Ant, but yeah, it was a fun game. What about you? You've been playing much?
I didn't get down on Monday, but I was down the Monday before when you missed it.
Yeah, I couldn't make it that Monday.
I've been looking at this Pim tank basically because I still quite like it.
Yeah. I heard about that team actually.
From Nick, was it?
Yeah.
Nick was playing, yeah. I do like because you can theme it with Avengers really, and there's a lot of decent cheap Avengers out from especially you've got Eric Masterson, Jessica Jones, etc.
Yeah.
Giant Man. So there's a lot of they're all 15 points. So I think my theme team was about +7 Avengers team or something like that. I was playing 100-point Pimp tank.
Right.
And I had a lot of stat mods on it. So it had Eric Masterson just by himself gives it +2, a Plex with a power action and enhancement. And with the errata on it, they changed its improved targeting, which I think I've mentioned before. I mentioned to you anyway, where you can shoot through any blocking. It doesn't destroy the blocking though. So you can stick it on. I wasn't even trying to exploit that. So I just stuck it on a normal map. But if I'd really +7, you'd get them on a map where there's a ton of blocking and the tank just shoots through it all.
Yeah.
And Jessica Jones was there just to turn off stealth, just ran up and just goes, you haven't got stealth, and then you go bang, 7 damage.
Yeah, I heard it was particularly bad against. Did particularly well, should I say, against that Chase Batman from the
Yeah.
Harley Quinn
Well, it
set.
just ran up. I still, you can't outwit him, so he still had his
No.
imp. He had his imp overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that Batman's not that great, really, is he? He's
Yeah.
too
No.
high points. He does some funky
Yeah.
stuff, but he's like 200 points or something. So
Yeah, he's expensive, isn't he? 225 points or something.
yeah, obviously you can't. I wouldn't. But yeah, I was running the. Can't remember my exact team. I had Jessica Jones, Eric, 100-point tank, and a thug, obviously to pilot the tank. Giant
Obviously,
man.
no better pilot.
No, he is the best pilot.
Yeah.
And I had Cosmic Spidey at 75 as well. So I had like the
Right.
two people who could shoot through walls. Obviously, the tank is better at shooting through walls because it can shoot through all of the walls,
Yeah.
and you can
yeah.
do funky stuff. I wasn't playing the ID card, but you can do things like call in Lex and give it Superman enemy, and then use Outwit, and it could use through walls and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do rated probably at the 100-point one. I think the 50-point one is just a good. It's a taxi. It's got some support powers. But it's got 8 attacks, so you're struggling. You'll have to put all your perplexes or whatever into attack just to get it to hit. But it's got a stupid long range as well. It's got 10 range.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
So I think I had some shield. I think I had a 50-point Iron Man, Super Iron Man from Nick Fury set, who had the shield team ability, who then Jessica Jones was wildcarding, or Cosmic Spidey was wildcarding. So it had like 13 range if I wanted to. So yeah, it can get quite nasty. Obviously, I'm not 100% sure if it's competitive or not, but I think with Avengers, I've been trying to look. They've got so many good cheap ones. They're just lacking somebody around, say, the 100, 120, who's like sort of an outstanding figure just as a tentpole, really.
Yeah.
So, you've got a lot of like cheap good guys, but something like that. I like that Iron Man at 125, but he's got the pick a power one.
All right. Yes.
He's got a short dial, and it's obviously the powers that he picks are a bit weird combinations of them. So yeah, I'm not on something like the Sunfire Prime from Uncanny X-Men, who's not bad.
Yeah.
For the 120. But yeah, I'm playing around and trying to come up with different. But I think it's vaguely competitive because you just got to like put on a few ID cards and then it's fairly decent. But
yeah, I quite like the idea of playing the tank. I mean, we've got two of them sitting, and to be honest, they're just boxed up now. I think since they nerfed the pocket tank, I don't think they've been out of the box once.
You should try it. You should try it because especially on anything where you can like get its stats up. So you could play like you could play like a soldier team with something like General Lane, which I think I have done before, where you're giving the tank outwit then, and obviously this is then it can outwit through walls.
Yeah, because outwit's so powerful now, isn't it?
The tank can't see through hindering though. That's the only thing with it. So if I was trying to go on soldier, there's no way to give it improved targeting. No. And there's nobody who can turn off stealth in the way that Jessica Jones can just run up and just go, you're on 6 squares of me, cut your stealth. Yeah, so that's why I was looking to more Avengers, but I've been playing around with it. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. Worth a try. I might give it a run out on Monday.
Well, try it with Avengers, or because it really benefits from trying to get on a map that it likes, so it can shoot stuff before you can get to it.
Cool. Oh well. So moving on then. I think we were gonna talk about some of the figures in Star Trek. You wanted to talk about title characters, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know if you probably haven't played any.
I haven't played any of the Star Trek stuff, to be honest. Up until about half an hour ago, I hadn't even looked at any of the Star Trek stuff. Although title characters always do appeal to me. I mean, I like the way that they kind of they just seem fun to play. Particularly like the Deadpool one. He was one of my favourites. So yeah, I'm interested to hear what you've got to say about the Star Trek ones and what you think of them.
Well, the set itself is more like a fun-ish set, should I say?
Yeah.
There's very few figures there that you would likely to see sort of competitively. There's a lot of like sort of cheap, but things like there's a cheap 25-point TK. There's a couple of cheap support figures. You've got the tribbles, which somebody might decide to play just for various reasons. If they want to mastermind onto it, or if they want to try and clog up maps just with like 5-point animal figures. But for me, if I was going to play any figure from a set, I would probably be looking at one of the title characters. And they're all come in at like 100 points. You've got Captain Kirk, I'm trying to remember the names. Charvanek, who's a Romulan one.
Charvanek, yeah, and Core, I think, is the other.
There's a Core, who's a Klingon one.
Core's the Klingon.
Yeah. So they all have like a title, similar title character, as in they've got like a +1. They all start off with 0 plot points. Got a +1, does something most of the time. It's not particularly great. Core gives you 2 extra actions that turn, which is only going to be useful if you're playing like a big swarmy team, really. It's not terrible. Kirk means if you miss a friendly character, they can take an action token off themselves. And Charvanek is she can use Perplex, but only target opposing characters, which is, alright, but it would be a lot better if it was just Perplex. So what they do, basically, they've got like a transporter one, which is basically you minus so many plot points and you can bring in a character of so it works out as if you remove 5 plot points, you can bring in a 40 to 49 point character. If you move 3 plot points, you can bring a 20 to 29 point character. But specifically with the keyword of, say, Kirk only brings in Starfleets, Charvanek only brings in Romulans and things like that in code. So they've all got like reasonable dials, well, fairly good dials for like the points, because obviously that tends to happen with title characters. The dial's great, but they've got a nasty downside normally for if they get killed. I especially like Charvanek's dial, because she's got Prob, she's got Mastermind, she's Indom, Psychoblast, and she's
Sidestep,
and all the Romulans have like the Romulan team abilities like Batman family.
Oh, right,
so it's like they've all got stealth, so that's nice.
Right.
But I think the Kirk, the Starfleet, as there's more cheap Starfleet figures in the set, rather than the Romulans, you're very limited to who you can actually call in with your transporter ability. But like Captain Kirk, so there's like, say, Dr. McCoy at 25 points, who's a good support figure. Lieutenant Kyle is a 25-point TK. You can bring in a Starfleet security officer who's got enhancement and he protects maybe Kirk, because if he would be cured, you can cure the red shirt instead. So I think their usefulness may depend upon are there going to be any more Star Trek sets. If you do a Next Generation set or something.
Because the keywords are very specific in the set, aren't they? They're not like...
Yeah, there's not many of them that have like generic keywords, and there's mainly just Starfleet and Klingon and Romulan and stuff. But if it opens it up to some more like good cheap figures, it's like the Romulan lady can bring in like Romulan Centurions who've got Perplex and 25 points, which is fairly decent, but it does take you 3 turns to get enough plot points to be able to call one in. And obviously then if she's not attacking, she's going to be taking damage.
Taking the damage,
so that's a toughie to get round, really. But something like Kirk can try and get rounded by his having, can have like a Starfleet supporter. So like you can play Dr. McCoy, either calling him in with a transporter or just playing him with him, and then he can just support him to like keep him up. Because I don't think you want to because they've got all these downsides to them when they die. You don't want to be throwing them in to the fight too soon, I think. So you maybe just want to spend a little time getting somebody out and then putting them into the fight. So having somebody with support to try and heal them up if they're taking the damage from their plot points.
Yeah. I mean, Kirk has running shot top tail, doesn't he? Running shot pencil.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but he's only relying on his super senses to try and keep him alive.
He's only got a 6 range as well, hasn't he? So
yeah, the damage reduction on these guys in the set, they're all like a lot of cheap figures. No one's got. Yeah. I was very unlikely to see like the Starfleet and Klingons with anything more than toughness really for damage reduction. Yeah. So, but that's why Chauvinex with stealth and mastermind. It's not a bad little combo. If you has somebody to mastermind, don't you? Obviously.
Yeah. Are these? Correct me if I'm wrong, but are these the only title characters that actually start the game with 0 plot points, or are there any of the others that have come out so far?
I'm not 100% sure. If any of the others, normally you start off with some.
Yeah.
But I think it's because they're all like got the transporter ability. If they started with some plot points, then you can instantly call somebody in. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well. I'll have to say I'd be curious to see if we ever see any like played competitively any of the Star Trek set.
Well, I think you might see the TK because that's still the cheapest, 25 points. You still can't get that cheaper unless you're playing Supreme Intelligence on somebody, but then you've got to be 50 points to be able to assign it. I think you might see
I think that Dr. McCoy's got the scientist keyword and it's only 25 points for support. He's a cheap.
Yeah. So there's a few other support figures you've got, so you might see him on a theme team because otherwise you might go for Jane Foster. The advantage to Jane Foster is the fact that you can't draw lines of fire to her or something unless you're 75 points or below, so that keeps her from just being targeted straight away.
Yeah.
There is a cheaper support figure in Nurse Chapel. She's 15 points, but she's only got a 9 attack.
Oh, right, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I can see that one there.
So it's not terrible, but you know.
Yeah. I think that Dr. McCoy's got that special, hasn't he, where he can increase his attack roll or something, or.
He's got the trait, but that's
his special damage. When he uses support, his attack becomes 11, but that's because he's got a printed 0.
Yes.
So, and
so
he doesn't take pushing damage
else
for the action.
He is not doing anything else apart from supporting people.
Yeah.
Really. You've got 0 damage, 0 range, 0 attack.
Yeah, and then you've got I suppose. And then is that 25 points better spent on something else?
Well, if you're just looking for support,
I guess
you're probably paying around that point. If you go for Night Nurse, 20.
She's 20, yeah.
And then you got Jane Foster, which I think if you want support, you're probably going Jane Foster. Unless you play the theme team, really.
I was going to say she's got the most useful keywords anyway, Jane Foster, I think. Avengers.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
But there's some like fun figures. I don't think you'll see much competitive use out of anything.
No.
Maybe the title characters going forward, or the cheap figures more likely, really.
Yeah. Oh well. So we'll quickly move on then.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about the watch list, the results of the watch list?
Because last time we debated it and came up with ideas about how to change them. I can't remember now if any of them were.
I think we were pretty much spot on for. Certainly for Unimind, what they've done to Unimind. So let's go through them one at a time. Then we'll start with Unimind because we've mentioned him. I think he's probably been, in my opinion, been hit the hardest, and I don't mean that in a necessarily it's a bad thing. So what do you want to just?
I haven't got it in front of us. Have you got it in front of you?
I haven't, but I do know it. Bearing in mind, he was one figure I was considering playing for the winter.
You're going to steal it off Matty.
I was going to steal his team off Matty. That's exactly what I was going to do. Let me just bring it up.
Go on,
so
basically, bring it up. I'm lazy.
Basically, he's one of the main things on him is now he can only pick powers at the beginning of his own turn.
Yes. Well, that makes
So-
sense. I think we said that.
We did.
So he's basically going to want, because previously he was doing prob on his turn generally, and
Yeah.
invincible on. No, I'd prob on not and invincible on his opponent's turn, just
Yeah.
to stop the legs of Green Arrow or something, or getting it out to make sure that he was always going to have like damage reduction. But yeah, so he's got to go for one or the other. So I think it goes for prob. Do you think? Because otherwise you've got to. One of the problems that I
Yeah.
find with like building teams now is trying to find a cheap prob that I like, which I don't really like any of the figures that gives you cheap prob. So if he's relying on ID cards, he really wants prob, doesn't he? Because otherwise you're going to miss.
I would think so because
Occasionally.
I would think so, because especially considering another change, which is not necessarily a change on him, but a change on the rules in general around when it says, you know how Green Arrow has that power that says when he hits, then you can't use
Yeah.
defense powers. Previously, that was powers in your defense slot, but now they've changed that now to just defense powers irrespective of where you get them from.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to hit Unimind as well, because previously you could pick invincible, and he has invincible, and you could still use that power that he picked if you were hit by Green Arrow. So, you know, if I don't know, I think prob is
I think
certainly prob.
Yeah, I think what he wants to do is use an object to give him shape change, generally symbiote or the
Yeah,
mirror, and then pick prob. Probably because he's like got 10 range, so a lot of the time he will have a chance of probbing people's attacks. Not Green Arrow though, because he'll never even draw a line of fight to him unless he's within 2 squares. I think he wants shape change just to give him a chance of. Or we could just go pick super senses. Trying to get prob. If he's just playing like a Nighthawk Unimind plus a few extra points, you're going to struggle to get prob on your team without him picking it.
yeah,
And I think if you want now, obviously going on to the next change with him is his perplex. So
Yes.
unless he's picking some like hypersonic, then I think if he's just calling somebody in, I think he's got to really
yeah,
pick prob.
yeah.
But anyway, do you want to do the next?
Yeah, so basically he's perplexed now. He can still perplex, but he can only modify a combat value by +2 and -2 if the character that he's perplexing has the Eternals keyword.
Yeah.
So basically that's himself, I think. Unless you're playing an Eternals team, but it certainly you won't be able to perplex up ID cards by +2 anymore.
I think with the change to the pick of powers as well, he becomes more vulnerable to Green Arrow. So
Definitely.
not playing him with Nighthawk, and then just going, I'm going to play him with an Eternal instead,
yeah,
makes him just like Green Arrow's going to just pop him. So you need without any. He's not going to have any other damage reduction because Green Arrow gets through it
No.
all damage reduction.
yeah,
So I think you need some way of saying, well, you can only hit you for 3, can't hit you for 5.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think the change they made to the perplex is a fair one, because I think
yeah,
previously it was like I mean, it got ridiculous, didn't it? When you'd call in Nick and perplex up him,
Yeah,
any of his
it
stats by
makes sense.
+2, and he's getting the +1/+1 anyway because he's probably attacking the highest point character. Then
I mean, it makes it less bad. It's still good. Still, because
Oh,
you
yeah,
generally
definitely.
have 2 perplexes playing of 150 with 2 or 3. Well, you have 3 generally. The other Eternals on the sideline
yeah.
doesn't make him. It's not made him unplayable.
No, definitely not. I still think you'll see play, but I think the difference now is previously you would say, and this isn't a slight on anyone who's played him in the past, and certainly not a slight on Matty, but you'd have people who'd play and didn't really have to think very much about what they were doing with them.
No, I think once you've played him a few times and you know which powers you're going to pick, you just
Yeah.
go that and that.
And you would alternate between the two powers. Okay,
Yeah.
prob on my turn, invincible on your turn. But now I think he's going to take that a little bit more thought, and you're going to have to be a little bit more sort of wary, especially if you see a green arrow sitting on the sideline. Obviously, you're going to have to be a bit more careful of what you do with him, and he may. I still think he's going to be quite powerful, because I think he'll guarantee to be paired up with Nighthawk now. But I just think he's still gonna get a lot of play. Certainly while Nighthawk's in rotation.
Yeah, I think that he's easier to take down now, though. You might have to. You'd obviously have to keep him in mind about what you're going to do, but the fact that his powers are less versatile and his perplex is worse means that, you know. I would feel more confident playing a different team, because I've been playing in the past a lot of double KOs. I was playing teams specifically that maybe had half a chance against Unimind. Now I think I might just branch out a bit and just play something different. That maybe, because I think you could, if you had like a few, I think, there's a few characters that are already, because we, don't forget about something like Forge. I don't think we're going to have an ID card Forge.
No, I don't think we are.
Because but as I think I've said to you, I do like Forge just, on the map, and he has got the X-Men, and also he's got a lot of good keywords.
He has, yeah.
So don't, he does need to hit though, so you can, things like super sensors and shape change will protect you from him.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're not going to have quite so many defense powers, maybe you just need to hit once. You need to get lucky, hits you once, and then it's like, what, you have no powers now. So if you've got anybody else to finish you off, it's pretty much game over. There might be other things as well.
I think that was the changes to Unimind. That I don't think there was any other changes. Obviously, I mentioned there was a change in the rules about the definition of can't use defense powers, but that's like across the board. That's not just for Unimind, but it will affect him massively, I think. Next up on the watch list was the number 60 Joker from Joker's Wild Set. He was the was it escape tokens? Was that what he had? The ones where you would pay 10 points a token, and you could play him at either 30, 40 or 50 points. I think we debated what they were going to do with him and what they could do with him. I don't know if any of us predicted what they have actually done. But basically now he always had a trait that allowed you to roll a d6 should you want to at the beginning of the turn, and either heal him or damage him half the result. And now that is now been errated, so that is no longer optional. That is something you must do if you're playing him.
Which I think is fair enough.
I definitely do. Yeah, and he can now no longer be chosen for Mastermind, which again I think is fair enough. I do think he becomes a bit more random, and I still think he's a good piece to play, but he's just a little bit more difficult to kind of predict how it's gonna work for you. It's gonna be a lot more random.
Well, you can never like take a loser escape token, because you're only moving up to 3, and so you just have to make sure that like, I'm going to go backwards, I'm going to go forward. You just need to know.
Yeah.
But your dial is going to change, because normally you just keep on outwit, and just until somebody hit you. There was no you didn't really want to move off outwit to start with, did you?
No.
So certainly not with the new rules for outwit. Anyway, so now you are going to move and change, but I don't think it changes his. I've never actually used them for like mastermind, and I'm generally using just as a tie-up piece. You stick the symbiote on him and just go and annoy somebody.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you'll change the way, if I do end up playing him again, I don't think I'll change the way I play him.
No, I mean, he's
yeah.
not one that I'd thought about using for Mastermind fodder, to be honest.
Well, I have thought about it. I just decided no, I didn't. I think the only time I've used, well, when I was playing that Goblin King Masterminding, but I was using Bizarro Green Arrow instead. That was mainly because I don't think Joker does enough against things like Unimind. Because, well, unless you could tie up Unimind, but then they're generally playing like a Colossal with them that just carries them around and then just ignores the Joker. Times I've played against the Joker, I've just ignored him. And it's been fairly easy to ignore him. As long as you've got, like, say, a Colossal, because then you can't tie them up.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah,
I don't mind the changes to Joker. I don't think it'll
no,
change the fact that people will still play him.
Yeah, I mean, if it wouldn't make me think about, oh, maybe I shouldn't play him now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think he's a viable piece. So the next piece that was up on the watch list was the boxing ring, and they haven't really errated that. They've just kind of given some clarification as to the rules on that now. What they have said is that if you're a multi-base character now, you have to be able to finish your movement where all of the basics is either inside or outside of the ring, and you can't both exist half in the ring and half out. I think that's the only change, and it's not really a change, it was just clarification, which is fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, it's still really good for 5 points. I think that's why it ended up on the watch list. I think there's lots of ways sort of around it. You just need a team that maybe doesn't focus strictly on one thing. So if somebody's sitting in the boxing ring, you can engage them close up. You don't have to shoot them, but you'll still see played quite a lot. I think most teams, if you've got 5 points left over, just go Al, because it's so much better than, say, the other special terrain. I mean, I suppose that's the only reason that it's a bit of a shame that it is so much better than them, so you're not going to see the other ones getting played very much.
I mean, I played the Invisible Jet at the WKOs, and I enjoyed playing it, but that was only because we only had one boxing ring and Matthew claimed it. Otherwise, I probably would have played a team with a boxing ring on. But yeah, I quite enjoyed the Invisible Jet.
I quite fancy getting an Invisible Jet just so I could mod it to the Blackbird for the X-Men. So if you play an X-Men team, then you could at least go, hey, it's the Blackbird's landed and everybody's jumped out.
That's a good idea.
But, you know, having an Invisible Jet or a boxing ring doesn't quite fit the X-Men. Really.
No, it doesn't. What was a surprise for this watch list was that they've errated Jakeem Thunder, which I don't think anybody was expecting him to make another appearance, having been on the watch list and then making a ruling that they weren't going to make any changes to him.
They said he was fine. He won everything, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So the changes they've made now is they've basically said out of the group of powers that you can only pick one of, they've added shape change into that now. So that now becomes a defense power, hypersonic speed, outwit, perplex, pulse wave, or shape change. Yeah. So what do you think about that one?
I think it just makes him think a little bit more, because he normally would go with invincible shape change. If you weren't playing Eclipso on him, you would go invincible shape change. I'm not sure what you do now if you go. You still want to pick invincible, but then you're like, I'm basically stuck with that. I think you have to, again, what I said about Unimind, you then have to play him with Symbiote or something just to give him shape change.
Yeah.
Because I think you don't want to rely just on having one sort of defense power. You need to stack them. Unless if you're playing with Eclipso, it's not so bad, because then you can get shape change off Eclipso.
You can choose,
and then you could still go for invincible and something else. But yeah, it makes it a little bit more awkward, because you can't do I think you do shape change, invincible, and impervious and super senses. Can you still do that? No, you
the
can't,
defense super sense is
'cause
the
it's two.
defense power. Yeah, 2 defense powers.
Yes, you can't do that. So it makes it a little bit more limited defensive wise. Not a huge
Yeah,
amount.
because
But you
another
normally,
favorite.
yeah,
Another favorite was super senses and shape change, wasn't it? And then,
yeah. Now they're getting the
and if you if you had a Eclipso on him or whatever, you'd have impervious from Eclipso.
Mm-hmm. I mean, still, he's good. He's just slightly less good. I think that maybe we're looking at they've nerfed Goblin King. Now they're nerfing Unimind. Does everybody just go back to play Jakeem again? So
yeah,
I
so
thought they're just giving him a little bit of a nerfing, and it kind of just makes you more confident just to go. Well, I can play a different team, and I'm not. I'll have a decent chance.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So, speaking of playing teams, I think we mentioned at the top of the show they've just announced the next round of WKOs, the winter ones.
Yes.
And I was both surprised and pleased to see that our local had been selected as a place to run one. I'm not sure if we've got any dates for that yet, but they're starting the 2nd of March around the world. So I think do you think we're normally the first ones to? No, we're not.
No,
America's the first ones. Yeah, the US is the first ones.
Well, I think they can it's just up to the store when they want to actually run it. They'll just have some dates that they've got to, and they've maybe talked to each other to make sure they're not putting them on the same weekend, if they're sort of near each other. But I don't think they are told what dates to put it on. It's up to the store. If they're given you have to run it in between these 2 dates. Up to them when to do it.
Right, great.
I think.
I think is there 4 in the UK?
There are 4 currently on the map. If that means they're restricted to 4 or not.
I'm just quickly trying to.
I know them off the top of my head. If you want.
I know there's Geek Rush in Newcastle.
Yeah.
Whalen's Forge in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And 2 that were.
There was Galleon Games in Bexhill-on-Sea, which is on the south coast.
Right,
south easty, just east of Brighton.
Is that Elliot's?
I don't think it is, because they normally, but it's not too far away from them lot, south coast lot. And the other one is Plymouth, which is Antiques Model and Hobby Shop, I think it's called. So they have like a
Antiques Plymouth, Devon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is going to be a bit of a trek for us, I think. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to make that one.
No.
Funnily enough.
But maybe we went down to Birmingham.
And
last year.
If we do go to that one this year, I must remember to bring all my stuff back with me.
Yeah. Did you ever get your map back?
I did. Yes, I did. Yeah, they were very kind and posted it out to me. I paid a postage fee and they posted it back relatively quickly, which was very kind of them.
Yes. But they had a decent turnout in Birmingham last year.
They did. It was like a mini nationals, wasn't it?
Because it's nice and central to the UK or England anyway. So you got some people coming up from the south as well as more Midlands and northern ones as well. So.
I'm kind of torn at the moment though, because for the obviously. Both you and I both still need to qualify for nationals. I mean,
is Dale qualifying into
well, Dale qualifies automatically because he's the current champion.
And Anton, etc.
Yeah. Now, obviously, Geek is our local.
You're going to make me judge.
I'm not going to make you judge. What I'm going to say is I've had a conversation tonight, and Matthew wants to judge, and I'm like, don't know if that's such a good idea, but we'll. You think I'll be able to do it? I'm thinking I'm sure you will because you know the rules better than I do. But we'll see.
You could have a go.
I need to have a conversation with John, the manager, about it. So because
well,
ideally I'd like to play, but
you could just give him a hand with doing the software.
Yeah, I can log him in.
It's really just answering then questions, and if you like
Ed-
get stuck, you can always run over to one of us or something if we're playing another game and just double check it.
Yeah.
You'll be alright.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd be fine. It's just how other players would react to being given a rules decision by a 12-year-old. I mean, I'll be fine with it because he does it quite often when we play together. So
yeah, well, I often have arguments with him, so I don't know about mine. He might rule against us quite a bit.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So we need to get some teams built and some practice.
Well, I've been building teams.
Okay. Well, I'm going to build a team and not tell you until the day of the event.
Well, I've been building. I really want to go back and play like named theme teams. Really.
Yeah.
I think I've narrowed it down to either Avengers, Batman Family, or X-Men, depending on what we see in the X-Men set.
Now you see, that is a good segue.
That is a good segue, Sean.
That is a good segue. That was amazing. Because up next, we're going to talk about the new X-Men set.
Yeah.
Most of the deals have been spoiled now. Obviously, we're not going to do a set review until the set actually comes out.
We've had a lot of unboxing and previews on various websites and stuff.
Yeah, there has been. So what are your initial impressions of the new X-Men set then?
I think I like it. There's a lot of cheap figures, which I think is sort of good for X-Men. There's not sort of like huge, but I mean, we haven't seen a lot of maybe the super rares and stuff, so there may be higher point figures, but you're sort of struggling to see anybody 100 points is sort of rare. There's a lot of 50 points, a lot of 75 points. Super rares is a bit sort of higher, but a lot of the higher point ones I wouldn't touch with the barge pull anyway.
Yeah.
Things like the super rare Wolverine and Cyclops at 150 are like, whoa, complain them. I do like some of the synergies that I was talking to you before we started recording around, if you compare it to say the Uncanny X-Men set, that was one of the first sets that started off having these sort of short 50-point dials. So you would see they had all of the general X-Men people at 50 points. Now they've done the same here, but the difference I feel is they've introduced lots of like traits and synergy maybe with playing people with the same keyword. Say they've got like the X-Men First Class, where they're all doing something funky, giving people like damage boosts or range boosts. So it's encouraging you to play people with the same keyword. Because previously you would get these 50-point figures and they were fine. But you didn't really benefit playing like a full X-Men team really, apart from just the normal, theme team benefits.
Yeah.
But if you've got a decent trait that keys off somebody else with the X-Men keyword, and you get a bonus, it encourages you to play them together really, which I think is good. Especially like the headmasters, where you're getting leadership and perplex, but only to target another friendly character with the X-Men keyword, and you get a free student ID card.
Yeah.
So somebody like that, even common slot Moira McTaggart at 25 points. You've got leadership perplex, free ID card, and then you can push on out wit, and you've got the X-Men team ability, all for 25 points. Which is
that's good.
Now you probably wouldn't play her on any team apart from an X-Men team, because you wouldn't get, say, the leadership and leadership again keys off keywords really, so you don't want to be taking points off a 20-point figure. But if you've got leadership with an X-Men, you can take that off anybody now on the team, and that so that's a lot for 25 points. And similarly, the higher rarities, you've got things like Storm, who's got the headmaster trait, and she's like a multi-taxi for 50 points. It's super rares. I like that Cyclops.
I like that Cyclops.
Just at 50 points, because you could got a really good improved targeting. Again, leadership perplex. and he's got like a couple of other traits which give him extra things as well, like sort of a colossal retaliation type thing. If somebody's damaged another friendly character of the X-Men keyword,
Yeah, that free range
he
attack.
gets a free range attack. He's got sidestep, and if he's closer to an opponent's starting area, he gets psychic blast. Otherwise, energy shield. So there's a lot of extra things going into that.
Yeah.
It's a very short dial, only 3 clicks.
Yeah, at 50 points. Yeah.
There's a lot going on there, and I think some of these might depend on what the ID cards are that you can get for free. They're all sort of situational, but if there's one or two that are decent or that have decent inspirations.
Well, that's the thing. I don't know if you on the unboxing videos. Scott Porter did a series of unboxing videos, and he drew out of a full brick. He pulled out one ID card, and it was a student ID card, which is what you're allowed to bring in with these head teacher ones. The student ID cards do not have inspirations.
Do they not? What student ID card did he pull?
And they're only 3 points.
3 points. That's strange.
3 points for a student ID card, but they have no inspiration.
I don't like the sound of that. What are the no good for putting on the teleporter then?
No. I'm trying to think what ID card it was now.
I thought he put in Cyclops, but that's obviously a headmaster one. Or did we see that somewhere else?
He certainly didn't pull a Cyclops ID card. I think he pulled a Cyclops. But the character on who was it?
Prodigy.
Prodigy.
Yeah.
It was Prodigy.
Yeah, I'm looking on the HC Realms dials. There is like a little thing with it's the student ones are 3 points in.
Yeah.
That makes
but with
them,
no ID, so
that makes them no inspiration. It's like slightly less good, but we haven't seen.
Certainly less appealing.
Has not seen the Prodigy dial.
No.
You would hope that you aren't going to get any ID cards that do not have figures to actually attach to.
Yeah, he didn't pull a Prodigy in his unboxing, which is
that makes me slightly less excited about it.
Yeah, what concerned me was that out of a brick of product he pulled one student ID card. So I mean, maybe he was just unlucky, but I'm sure when the ID cards came in the World Finest brick, there was a lot more.
3, I would have thought.
Yeah,
per brick.
But we'll see. He may have just been unlucky.
Especially if there's a good one, that's going to be awkward trying to get a hold of it.
Yeah. So whilst we're talking about X-Men, have you seen? What do you think of the title characters? There's
Magneto.
I've seen 2. I've seen Magneto and I've seen Professor X Dreamer.
I do not like that Professor X.
No, I don't like that Professor X at all.
I think the problem with title characters is the dying bit of them. So I do not want to be playing one that dies easily. Magneto isn't too bad.
I quite like that Magneto, to be honest.
What number is it again? I'm trying to find it now.
He's 50. Magneto Realist. He's 100 points.
Got him, yeah.
Yeah. 100 points. When he's KO'd, then friendly characters modify damage by -1 for the rest of the game.
That's nasty.
It is nasty. As opposed to Charles Xavier, who is when he is KO'd, opposing characters modify damage by +1. So he's giving a boost to your opponent, whereas Magneto is hurting.
Yeah, but Magneto is harder to KO, so it's less likely that is going to be kicking off, really.
His +1 is all friendly characters within range modify attack by +1 until your next turn.
That is good.
He has a range of 7. His -2 is move all friendly characters within range up to 2 squares.
Equally good.
For free.
But obviously that's -2.
And his ultimate, which is a -9, is free for the rest of the game as long as Magneto Realist is on the map. Friendly characters modify damage by +1. Which is good, but are you going to get it off from
How many does he start with? Does it say? It doesn't say anything.
I think, from what I read, he starts with 3. I'm sure I saw that. So the chances of getting a -9 off, I think, are slim, like.
Yeah, they're not sort of. He's still only got invulnerability.
He has
to protect himself. He doesn't get anything. He goes down to toughness and energy shield. So I can't see myself playing him.
No. I think out of the two, he would be the one that, you know, if I had to play.
Yeah, if somebody twisted my arm and said I had to play one or the other, I would play him.
It would definitely be him, because he starts with running shot, pen sight, and he does start with 3 plot points as well.
I think the only title character I've been particularly impressed with is the Thor, and that's mainly because if he dies, then you've lost anyway, generally, because he's your big
because he's your heavy hitter,
so you don't care, and he actually can keep on attacking a lot. And getting free attacks off and move people around. So his abilities were far superior to most. I don't know about quite like the look of the Harlequin title character.
She's fun. I've played her.
Especially in a Gotham Underworld team.
Yeah. She's fun.
I don't know anything else in the set that you've... I mean, we must talk about the Darwin and Leech, really.
Yes, I was going to say, I like both of those.
Do you want to just run through one?
Yeah, certainly. So I'll start with Darwin. He's unique. He has X-Men team ability, X-Factor, and X-Men keywords. He's only 4 clicks long. He has 3 traits. First one is the generic X-Student trait that I think a lot of the figures have got in this set. When this character or an adjacent friendly character's attack roll includes exactly a 5, modify the target's defense by -1. There's quite a few of the characters that have that. His other trait is instant adaptation. When Darwin is targeted with an attack, choose a standard defense power, and Darwin can use that chosen power for this attack. And his final trait is, I can adapt so much faster than you. Whenever another character uses an effect that allows it to choose one or more of standard powers to use, after resolutions, deal that character 1 unavoidable damage. So he also has a stop click on his last 2 clicks as well.
And regen on the stop click.
And regen on his stop click. He's only 35 points as well.
I mean, he isn't doing a huge amount other than annoying the heck out of people who choose standard powers. I think the only time I would want to play him really is on an X-Men team, because he's got the team ability and he's got regen, so he could just be a bit of a healing battery, even if you're not getting the benefit of the damaging people who pick standard powers. Because you played him on a team which he couldn't get the team ability, and there was nobody on the opponent's team who picked powers. He's sort of doing nothing really, apart from like being hard to kill. But having the fact that he can heal people as well is
having the X-Men team ability. For 5 points cheaper, you can play Leech. He's number 24 in the set. As I say, he's 30 points. He has the Generation X, Morlocks, Weapon X, and X-Factor keywords. So maybe not as useful keywords.
I'm sure that's right. I'm not sure if that's right, because I'm sure I've seen a preview picture.
I've got a preview of him.
Because that was out today, was it? And I'm sure you only had the Generation X keyword on the card. I may be wrong.
It's just a digital mock-up though, isn't it? Let's have a look. Here we go. No, he has Generation X, Morlocks, Weapon X, and X-Factor on the card.
I must be imagining that then. Anyway,
So he has only 1 trait, and it's lockdown. Whenever an opposing character would use an effect that allows it to choose a standard power to use, you may first choose a standard power. This turn, that character can't choose that standard power that you've chosen. So that could be quite annoying if you were playing a pick a power character.
Well, he doesn't do the damage that Darwin does, but he doesn't have the downside of Darwin of triggering colossal retaliations then.
Yeah, he is only 3 clicks long as well, so he's a click shorter. He's tiny size.
He also has outwit. He has a special
which gives him outwit on his special damage. Yeah.
When he uses it, he can potentially use it again, as long as they're within 4 squares, and he can keep on doing it as long as he's got targets.
That is.
So he's obviously a bit more useful than Darwin.
Yeah.
If he's not triggering the nerf to standard picker power characters.
Yeah, and he's got stealth all the way along his tail as well. So.
Yeah, and stop you outwitting his the outwit.
Yeah. It's just a shame he hasn't got the X-Men keyword. I know he's not an X-Men, but
yeah.
X
X-Factor's reasonably common in this set as well. There's quite a lot of X-Factor.
I
and
quite like
a lot of
X-Factor
Generation
teams.
X as well. So I think X-Factor might sneak on to...
I quite like X-Factor.
What else was X-Factor?
Title character Deadpool.
But he shouldn't have it, should he? That was the one.
I know
like,
he shouldn't have it. Forge has the X-Factor keyword.
Oh
well. Who else? Boom Boom from the Deadpool set. WizKid, the Prime from the Deadpool set. Iceman, I think, has X-Factor from the Uncanny X-Men set.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few.
There's a few on there.
Yeah.
Not many. Beast as well. Quicksilver still got it.
Quicksilver, yeah.
He's good. I like Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Yeah, X-Men still a little bit better.
Yeah.
See, I'm not 100%. I mean, a lot of people have been. Should I say whining? Do I want to say whining about? Oh well, you can't play any pick of power characters now. But I don't know what if people will play these a lot. I think Leech, obviously with his outwit, is pretty good. Darwin is sort of all or nothing. You would have to put him on an X-Men team because then he has another utility really. I quite like the idea of playing them, especially Darwin, on with the teleporter and just using better suited to maybe get rid of him. If I didn't want him, if I saw like people had, you're playing Jakeem with a ton of cross retaliators, I would go, maybe I don't really want to have him on the map or something, or if there wasn't a bigger power character, and I thought, I'll have, because 35 points is exactly the same as like the Green Lantern that everybody loves. So that would be a good swap in, and you're just basically paying 5 points for the. You're giving away 5 points for just doing the better suited. Because I don't really want to. Because there's Surtur that will instantly kill him. I think because that's the one that says you can't use defense powers when you target it. Is, yeah,
when he hits.
So that'll get through his stop clicks. And if somebody's playing Mangog as well, you would be going, Mangog's going to appear in my starting area very quickly.
Yeah.
Or even the 100-point Carnage, where that'll come over and then he'll cross retaliate, bring out the Pog, and then he'll either flurry you or call somebody in to attack. So don't really particularly want to trigger that straight away neither. I might go, if I was going for the X-Men team, I might sneak Darwin on. And I think, again, with Leech with the keywords, I would go for. I don't know about yourself. Do you think you still see yourself playing these?
I like Leech, but I think it's the keywords that will let him down. But again, unless I'm playing an X-Men theme team, then like Darwin, for example, as you say, you'd only play on an X-Men theme team, so or you're more likely to play him on an X-Men theme team.
I just can't think of what else to do with him. Like if he doesn't come across people who picks powers, he doesn't really do anything, does he? Unless you're giving him some equipment that I can't put the Supreme Intelligence on him because it's too low points.
I mean, I have played X-Factor teams before.
Oh, Darwin's got X-Factor as well.
Sorry?
Darwin's got X-Factor as well as X-Men.
Yeah. I mean, God, like going back now when I first started playing the game, like every week when I used to meet up at yours every week. I used to play an X-Factor theme with people from Wolverine and the X-Men set.
Yeah.
It's one of the first teams I'd ever played, I do like some of the X Factor characters. So I probably would play him. I don't know if I'd play him if I could see a place for him or a team that I could put him on competitively, but certainly I can think of ideas and teams that I would put him on.
Go with something like Quicksilver, Deadpool, title character, Forge, him, WizKid.
You've got that Iceman as well, from, as I say, the super rare from Luke.
I know, I still want to make that Iceman work, but tricky.
Yeah. So I can certainly see me playing one, if not both of them. But I do think Leech has got more utility than the other guy, the Darwin.
Really. But I think with that, with his outwit, because a lot of people now are going, well, I'm going to have to rely on stealth to try and stop this. Then you're going to have to. I always like going, is there a figure in with that keyword that you can get rid of stealth or something? Or if there's some way of giving him improved targeting or something like that.
The trouble is with Leech is because he's tiny, you can't equip him with anything.
Yeah, but you can just carry him around, which makes him quite useful. I don't think there's any equipment that gives you that now, is there? There's that Punisher equipment, but you've got to play a Punisher on the team.
You've got to play a Punisher on the team.
So that's tricky. I'm looking at like things like Jessica Jones, Green Lantern, 35 points, or what's the other one? Bat Dog, what's his name? Ace the Bat Hound.
Ace the Bat Hound,
Although he gets nerfed he is a pick a power figure, so he won't like the others.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I do like the idea of running an X-Men team, and trying that shifting focus Deadpool as well. With some of these pieces from
because he's got Perplex and Prob, he's got the team abilities to heal, he got the Prime to go into to try and make you unkillable, maybe heal people up, heal him up. I think it's
they've changed the rulings on equipment now with
so you can't equip him
shift and focus, so that's
so it makes him
bit of a downside.
But if you've got other people to perplex and stuff, if you've got 4 perplexes on your team, let's say they can perplex each other, then he becomes, you don't maybe need to rely on equipment to like boost his stats up or something. You can still do a decent amount of damage, because you got all the perplexes. You're probably not gonna call in a lot of people because you can't use your perplexes on the people you're calling in, unless obviously you're playing X-Men. You probably want to focus on, can you get some decent X-Men as ID characters, because then you can use your perplex on them. But there's a lot of good X-Men, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, I want to Forge, even if there's not an ID card for Forge, I think he is a worthwhile Quicksilver again. Any perplexes on him suddenly means that he's swinging for 10, 12 damage or something like that for a 75 point figure.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen all of the set yet. There might be, and I do like that 50 point Cyclops, Moira. I like, and obviously with all the leaderships going around, they can take tokens of each other.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. What do you think of the chasers being Age of Apocalypse again?
I'm not fussed about them.
Yeah.
They were decent. I don't think these ones are quite as good. Maybe the Iceman, I think people like.
I quite like that Iceman, yeah.
I think these again too high points. I mean, I think I like the fact that none of the chasers are particularly competitive, and they're more for like collectors or something. So you don't have to it's generally the super rares that are actually the ones that see most play. And chasers are like a theme. So I'm not a big fan of the Age of Apocalypse.
No,
so I don't think I'm gonna keep any of the figures back unless one of them turns out to be competitive. The ones that are on that we've seen so far are not. So I'm not really fussed about them, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yourself?
I don't know what I was expecting, but I must admit that part of me was a little bit disappointed when I found out that it's another X-Men set where the chasers are the same theme as the previous ones.
I think it's
But
a quite similar set to Uncanny X-Men. No, I feel.
It is.
So
But then I guess the fact that the it's the same theme, but they're actually different figures.
Yeah.
Which kind of didn't make it as bad, I guess. But having not got any of the previous Uncanny X-Men chases, it really doesn't make any difference to me.
Yeah, I don't want to be playing it. I don't want a set where I think I want all the chasers or something, because that's like, I'm not really fussed about the collectability and like particularly themes and things. I'm all just about the playability of the figure.
Yeah.
So
I like
chasers I'm not interested in.
I like collecting them depending on the theme. I like the Kingdom Come figures, so I'm quite happy that I managed to get all of them. But other than that, I'm not really that fussed, I guess. I am a bit of a completionist. I do like to try and get a full set, but I don't want to go like ridiculously in debt for it.
Speaking of the
there
set,
was a Cyclops. There was a Cyclops ID card spoilt.
Yeah.
Where the inspiration is Force Blast.
Particularly not great inspiration.
No.
But there are at least a few Cyclopses that might be worthwhile playing. It's about 3 in the set so far, anyway, isn't it?
There is, because there's a chase and there's.
Yeah, so I mean, as I say, I like the set. It probably would be a good sealed set in there's not very high point figures. We haven't seen all of it. Probably there might be some super rares, because we haven't seen that many super rares, have we?
There's
4,
been
5, 6 of them. So yeah, there might be a few more that we haven't seen that might be decent.
Is there not more than that?
Well, it looks more than that, but there's some of them like vary on point value. The Cyclops and the Wolverine are both different points values.
There's more than that now. There's definitely more than that now.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the dial, the unit section rather than.
Sorry, there's the 2 title characters. There's Angel.
There's only 2 ones we haven't seen yet. Okay. Yeah, I think maybe it's competitive wise. I think you're going to be looking at for me anyway, the headmasters, simply because of the amount of perplexity you're going to have if you're going to build an X-Men.
Have you seen the Kid Gladiator?
I have. I like them, but probably just for sealed rather than in sealed, because there's nobody else, or very few with that sort of level points value and stuff.
Yeah,
it'd probably be pretty brutal.
I do quite like him. I think he'd be quite. He's one of these. If you pull him in sealed, then you've got a very good chance.
Yeah, because he's got protected outwit as well from
people
with less points. And there's not many people with high points. Probably none of them will have outwit
in this set. Certainly not this set. No.
Are we doing? Would you? Because you're doing like a previews of these. I don't know. With the issues with Geek Retreat, are we gonna see?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. I think there'd initially been some issues with where they were getting the product from, but I think that's been resolved now, from what I was told on Monday. So I was asked to. I mean, this may be a conversation we should have afterwards, but I was asked to just send them a list of stuff that we wanted. So I sent a big list on Monday evening of stuff that we'd quite like ordered in terms of kits and OP kits and stuff. So I'm just waiting for some feedback on that.
Yeah, well, it'd be good getting OP kits, because we've missed out on quite a lot of maps.
Yes, we have. There's still a possibility that we can get that Harley Quinn OP kit, apparently, but yeah, we'll I'll probably find out more on Monday, and we can have a chat after.
Yep.
Cool. So, is there anything more you'd like to say on the X-Men set?
No, I don't think so. Can't think of anything else.
There's no. You're not aware of a UK release date for that yet? Then no.
I think they said like the 23rd of February off the top of my head.
Okay.
So
Okay,
about
I'm looking
5
forward
weeks
to
or
it.
so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Having not invested too heavily in the Harlequin set, I'm kind of I'm keen to get some product and get it opened and do another unboxing video for the channel.
Yep.
So I think that's all we've got for this episode, Chris, unless you want to talk about anything else. Or
Nope.
no? Okay, well, we'll just call that a night then, and we'll have a relatively short episode and a relatively early night. So I'd just like to take the opportunity to say, as always, thanks for listening, and until next time, see you later. Bye.
Goodbye.